Like, just because you have a CPA, you're not a tax expert. That doesn't mean you're a tax expert. I'm going to say this again. Just because you are not, or just because you are a CPA doesn't mean you are a tax expert.
If you drink it, we strap tonight. Yeah, I got my tin lit tonight. Yeah, we don't get worries tonight.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jess, and so in today's video I'm going to talk about the truth about being an accounting major. There's just some misconceptions that I've seen floating around, like, you know, in regards to being, like, you know, in school and then transitioning into the career world. And I just kind of wanted to give you guys tea about being an accounting major. And yeah, just know that there's a lot of things that people don't really realize about accounting that I just kind of wanted to talk about. So if you're interested in the topic of accounting, or if you're trying to consider whether or not you want to major in it or switch your major into it, then keep watching. So the first thing is that accounting is underestimated as an easy major. I don't know why, but I feel like there's a misconception that like accounting is such an easy major, or it's not like that hard. But I definitely think accounting is the hardest major in the business school. You guys don't drag me in the comments, but that's my opinion. It definitely wasn't my business school, and I do think accounting is one of the more challenging majors. I'm not going to say that it's the hardest major, obviously, but it's definitely not a major that you can just like BS and sign up just for an easy A. That is not the major at all. So definitely, like, if you are considering accounting, make sure that you're willing to put in work, because it's not an easy major at all. The second thing is, like, you need to have 150 credits in order to be considered for a CPA certification. So that's definitely way more than the average number of credits that you need to graduate. I think you need 129. So definitely consider that. You might have to take summer school, you might have to overload on some classes. If you're still in high school by any chance watching this video, consider taking AP credits. That's how I was able to really get a lot of my credits out. I came in with like 4 classes already with credit, and so that's honestly something to really consider. If you don't have 150 credits, you can't sit for the CPA exam. So definitely that. And then, you know, speaking of the CPA exam, that's a real consideration. A lot of times, like, accounting majors talk about the CPA exam. It's a huge exam. Like, basically it's equivalent to kind of taking a board exam for other majors, for other professions. The difference is that you don't have to take the exam to be in accounting, but if you want to progress past a certain level, you need to take the exam. So it's definitely a real consideration, like being in a major where like there's pressures to take an exam after you graduate. That's something to consider. If I had known what I had known, I don't know if I would have stayed in accounting with all the pressures to take the exam, and, you know, just to keep almost studying when you've graduated. So the learning truly never stops. Like, once you graduate, you're off to studying, unless you're in like a 5-year special master's program that allows you to take the exam like as you're in your program. But I graduated in 4 years. I didn't get my master's of accounting. I was able to, you know, do everything in 4 years, but that means that I was stuck studying and trying to work and trying to navigate post-grad life. So another thing is that you don't need to be good in math. Like, I don't know why people think accountants are like math whizzes. Obviously you need to know like how to do the basic operations, but you don't need to be like a calculus genius, or like, I don't even know, you don't need to know any of that. Like, I do think that you have to be, you know, you have to like numbers a little bit. You can't just be like, you know, against numbers. You have to have some kind of basic interest or like for numbers, because obviously you're working with numbers constantly, and you should kind of be quick on your feet with the basic operations. They should just come to you, obviously, but you don't need to like math. The next thing is that you need to be an analytical person. So this major requires a lot of analysis. Like, you're basically analyzing everything. Why this happened, why is this in this place, why is it this amount, could it be this amount if you do this, if you change this, how does it affect this? So there's a lot of analysis. I feel like this major is super analytical. So if you like to analyze, if you like to think, if you like to ask questions, you might like accounting, because it's definitely very analytical, definitely very like retrospective, always looking back at what happened, trying to analyze and see if there's flaws or if there's something to be done. You definitely need to be organized. You need to have some kind of interest in organizing ideas, organizing numbers, organizing concepts, because I feel like a lot of the error of being like an accounting major, like in terms of classes that are harder, are just because you don't have the organization, or you don't have, you know, or you don't like organizing things. Because like accounting is very much like, we're where are things put is how does it affect this financial statement or this financial statement, how does it affect this number, or how does this number affect this. So like if you kind of have like a systematic thing in your head of like, okay, everything has a bucket and every bucket affects something, then you'll like being an accounting major, because there's definitely a level of organization, there's a level of order and structure that accounting has. So if you don't like that, or you can't wrap your mind around that, then you will not like being an accounting major. Another thing is that people say about accounting majors that we're boring or that we're introverts. I mean, I can definitely say that accounting majors may be introverted. I feel like I'm kind of introverted, but I really want to get rid of that narrative of like accounting majors are boring or like, you know, we're not creative, because there's definitely plenty of people that are creative, definitely plenty of people that accountants that are very lively, extroverted and stuff like that. But just because you choose not to, you know, make your career something that's not as creative doesn't mean that you yourself can't be creative, if that makes sense. So I definitely want to break that stereotype. I do think, especially in this 21st century, you know, in this modern era, you know, people have been really doing a good job of breaking the stereotypes, but I really do think that like you can be an accounting major and still be really cool. Definitely, if you're going to be an accounting major, you're going to need to know how to use Excel. You have to be comfortable with Excel. Like over any other Microsoft application, Excel will be your best friend. Like you need to know Excel. You don't need to know it inside and out, but you need to be comfortable with the idea of knowing Excel inside and out, because literally you use it a lot. I don't remember using it as much honestly in school, but you use it every single day at work. Like I don't think there's been one day working that I haven't used Excel. You live and breathe Excel. Like you have to know how to do all the tricks like VLOOKUPs, different tables, different formulas, equations, how to highlight things fast. Like it's such a big analytical tool, a statistical tool for people in the industry that like, you know, the more you can learn about it while you're at school, the better. So definitely, you know, if you want to take an Excel class or in a course, that would be good. I wish that's something that I did. Like to be honest, I'm not the best at Excel. I'm definitely more advanced than the average person, obviously, but there are still some things that I know I need to get better at. So take it from me, like where you can, just make sure you know how to, or you're comfortable with learning how to use Excel. Internships. So like while you're in school, the biggest way to get a job is through an internship. I interned for one of the big 4 firms, and that's how I got my first job out of school. So internships are definitely a big way to get jobs. I think you need to do at least one. I did only one. I wish I would have done 2. Honestly, 2 of my summers should have been filled with internships, but I didn't realize that I could intern earlier than I did. So definitely from your sophomore year summer, yeah, that's the summer after your sophomore year, try to get an internship with either a big 4 firm or another firm that you're interested in, or try to get an internship with whatever area that you want to enter. And then the summer after your junior year, also that's a critical time to get the internship. That internship usually will lead you to the job that you'll get post-grad a lot of times, at least for big 4. If you can get a big 4 internship, then definitely that will be a big advantage, because that means pretty much if you go through the internship successfully, then you'll be able to get your full-time offer. That's definitely a big thing. Make sure you are up to date with or make sure you're in the know about what all the internships that they offer, so that you're not kind of shot out of luck when you're a senior and you're still kind of scrambling looking for the job. Because the goal is to have a job secured by your senior year, before your senior year, like I did. So now going towards like the career. So like as an accounting major, I feel like it's really important to kind of know what to expect, you know, for career trajectory and like what the industry is like. So definitely a big misconception. Even I made this misconception, and people still literally tell me this all the time, is that CPAs are not tax experts. Not every single CPA is a tax expert.
Like, just because you have a CPA, you're not a tax expert. That doesn't mean you're a tax expert. I'm going to say this again. Just because you are a CPA doesn't mean you are a tax expert.
Obviously, CPAs tend to have more tax knowledge than the average person, because one of the sections of the CPA exam is regulation, which is tax and business law. But that doesn't mean that you're a tax expert. I have never, ever worked in tax a day in my life. I haven't done anything related to tax in terms of, you know, my job. I specialize in audit and assurance, and that's pretty much where my expertise is. So when people are like, oh, can you do my taxes? I'm just like, I don't know that much about taxes. I do think that obviously being a CPA kind of will give you the knowledge of tax, a lot of the knowledge of tax, and it's easier for you to kind of learn the tax than maybe the average person, but it definitely doesn't mean you're an expert. So the CPA certification is huge for jobs. So if you are graduating with an accounting degree and you're looking for a job, or you're already in the job workforce, CPA is going to be a word you hear a lot. Everyone's always talking about how, you know, you should be certified. Are you taking your exam? Are you working towards a certification? Especially if you end up getting a Big 4 job, that definitely is going to be something that they always talk about. Because to be very honest, before I had graduated and started working, I had considered taking the CPA exam, but I wasn't super sure about taking it until I got my Big 4 internship and just kind of heard the talk about taking the exam, and until I saw people taking the exam or that have already taken the exam. So there's a big pressure to take the exam. So if you are not interested in being CPA certified, or if you don't want to be a CPA, or if you want to take the exam, then that's something to consider. Like, there's always going to be that pressure of the CPAs versus the non-CPAs, and if you want to stay in this profession and really be super successful, I feel like a CPA would be your best bet. You don't have to be. There's definitely other certifications you can get. You don't have to be a CPA, but I do think, like, especially in this industry, it's probably the highest regarded certification. So definitely work to get that, work to pursue getting certified, do your best on the exams, because it's definitely a big thing and it affects your job trajectory as well. If you don't have a CPA at certain companies or certain firms, you can't progress past the manager level, or yeah, pretty much you can't progress past the manager level. So that just means you'll be basically a senior, like a senior staff, senior associate forever, which is not fun. I think that's the biggest thing with the CPA. I think it gives you that boost of credibility that kind of takes you over that hump. Another thing is that finance and accounting are different. So this kind of is not really related to career, but it kind of can apply to being a student as well. But if you are considering finance or accounting, just know that they're not the same. Finance, I feel like, deals with more projecting, more forecasting, and accounting deals with more like retrospective, looking back, analyzing, you know, filling in gaps, solving problems type of perspective. So like, definitely if you're an accounting major, that doesn't mean you know finance. If you're a finance major, that doesn't mean you know accounting. I feel like a lot of people end up majoring in both accounting and finance because they're obviously like two pieces of a puzzle, but one doesn't mean you know the other. So I feel like a lot of people think that because I'm an accounting major, like I'm like some financial expert. I won't lie, I feel like I do know finance a little more than the average person, but that's on me. I think that's something that I kind of went out of my way to kind of learn more about. But a lot of accounting majors don't know anything about finance, and a lot of finance majors know nothing about accounting. So I just think that's like, you know, something to consider. Like, make sure you know what side of, you know, the money portion you want to be in. Do you want to be in the accounting side of the money or the finance side of the money? For pay starting out, so pay does not equal the hard work you put in, especially if you're like at a Big 4 company. You do not get paid accordingly. Like, you're putting in a lot of work, you are at a prestigious firm, but your pay is like a bit shoddy. So it's just one of those ones where it's like, if you're willing to take low pay for, you know, experience, name recognition, exposure, and, you know, learning a lot in a very short period of time, then definitely that path is for you. But otherwise, if you're just looking just for the money, definitely don't do accounting. Accounting is not the avenue that will get you rich quick. You have to really grind, and you have to have grit and really kind of climb that ladder, because it's a dog world out here. Like, it's not for the faint of heart. So just know that I feel like accountants get that like stereotype of, oh, like, you're so rich, which that can be the case. There's a lot of accountants that are millionaires, but a lot of times that happens eventually, like after years. That's not gonna happen, honestly, within the first 3 or 4 years. Maybe 5 to 6 you start to see, but not in the first couple of years. Definitely not. Just know, especially if you're entering Big 4, I think that initial shock is like, oh my god, they don't really pay us that well. So I mean, it's definitely decent pay to make a living off of, but for the work you're putting in and all the effort, you're definitely not getting paid what you deserve, in my opinion. Industry, in my opinion, is definitely way more relaxed than public. I started off at a big 4 firm, then transitioned into industry or like internal audit. I love it. I think it's the best. I don't think public accounting is for everybody. I think you have to be a certain kind of person to really work through that. If you take a big 4 offer, if you take a big 4 job, just know that you might not stay as long as you hoped, and it's okay, perfectly okay to leave, you know, whenever you're ready and go to work for an actual company in-house, aka industry. The big 4 terminology is huge. You've probably heard me say big 4 like 1,000 times in this video already, but big 4 is like the big buzzword for accounting. Like everyone's trying to get a big 4 job. It's the ideal job in my opinion to get after graduating because it's a gateway. It really just kind of opens opportunities for you. Ever since I worked at my big 4 firm, I have been getting opportunities. I think it kind of gives your resume clout, for lack of a better word. It really kind of just puts you or differentiates you from other applicants that don't have it. There's something about the prestige of big 4, the experience that you gain, how much that you learn, that I guess just other jobs starting out, you know, from college don't give you. And so I would say if you really want to kind of secure your best chances for making accounting something for you, then definitely try to get a big 4 position. I think that's gonna be that's like the foundation for anything you want to do. After you get your first job and you're looking to move on to another job, a lot of jobs end up really preferring big 4 experience. So it's definitely something that like is huge in the accounting world. That's like the elusive, like, I guess, golden job. Ranking, I feel like, doesn't really matter. Like where you went to school, the eliteness of your school doesn't matter. It's very much just like as long as you get your credits and you're CPA exam eligible, if you're willing to do the work, then that's all that matters, honestly. No one cares if you went to a top 10 school or if you went to a top 100 school. I've come across people that have come from all different kinds of rankings of school and be successful. And I'm not elitist at all, but I feel like for some majors, ranking, like the rank of your school matters, but the exam is the great equalizer. You basically know your stuff if you pass the exam. So yeah, ranking really doesn't matter as much. So don't be too bogged down with, you know, trying to go to the best school. I think if you can go to a state school or a local school, that's fine, honestly. But overall, I definitely think you can have a good career in accounting. It's definitely not for everybody. I mean, I am obviously transitioning out. If you watch my other videos, you'll know that I'm like, you know, trying to go to law school, which is always been the plan, always been the goal. But I do think having my accounting experience and having a CPA will really differentiate me when I do like start my career in law. I think you can really make a good career in accounting. You just have to have a lot of things in mind. You have to kind of level your expectations and really be ready to like lay low, because it's definitely like a hard work pays off type of profession, but you really do sometimes have to just go through the years and gain the experience slowly but surely and climb that ladder slowly but surely. I hope this was helpful to somebody. I hope that you guys kind of have a better understanding of what accounting majors are, or what you would be getting into if you're majoring in accounting, what to expect if you graduate with an accounting degree. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Bye.